Welcome to the softest ASMR. Today I wanted to start a new series introducing my makeup collection, and I wanted to start with my Korean makeup collection. I've been using various Korean brands for a long time now, and I thought since Kbeauty has become more globally popular in the last couple of years, it might be fun to talk about my favorite brands and my favorite products. And I decided to do it in short spurts by product type, and then within the product type by color, to help give you a good idea of how the color might look on you. My skin color analysis is spring, light, warm, and not everybody might be familiar with personal color analysis. It is a very popular, trend that they have in Korea these days. It's a fun way to look into what colors might look best on you. So you can categorize different skin colors into largely warm tone and cool tone. And within each category, you can subcategorize into spring, summer, fall, winter, and even within that category, you can continue to further subcategorize. Maybe one day I can do a video discussing the details of personal color analysis, but I am spring light warm, 봄 웜나, meaning that lighter, softer colors look best on me. So you'll see here I'm starting with my corals and my peaches, which are some of my best colors. So I'll do well with peach, coral, lighter warm pink. Sometimes beige can work too if it doesn't lean too cool. And my worst colors can include burgundy, magenta, fuchsia, or deep browns. And personal color analysis isn't meant to limit anybody in what they can wear. It's supposed to aid you in trying to find what looks best for you. So it's really just for fun. And if you don't really know where to start and you're not sure what looks best on you, it can be a very useful tool. In Korea, there are places that do it professionally to diagnose your color, but you can actually use cloths or other tools around you. I believe there are color wheels and books that you can use to self-diagnose as well, which is what I did. But I did it with my mom and my cousins, and it was a really fun day. But anyway, I wanted to mention that so that if you know your color and you're a spring light warm like me, you know that the colors that I like will probably look good on you too. And if you're very cool toned or your color is very different from mine, then it might swatch differently. The second thing I wanted to mention before I show the products is that Korean beauty style can be a little bit different from Western makeup style, and you might already, have noticed this if you're interested in Kbeauty. But a good example is eyeshadows, where a lot of Westerners like to have very strongly pigmented, intense eyeshadows, and for it to be a bold swatch. But whether it's lip or eye, a lot of Koreans prefer to have a little bit more of a sheer look to it, a little bit more subtle. So for lip product, if you're looking for an incredibly intense, opaque look, Kbeauty products are probably not going to be the right fit for you. Of course, there are products that lean that way, but the majority of them will be a little bit more sheer, just because that's just the beauty trend that's a little bit more popular, and in Korea and probably in a lot of other Eastern Asian countries as well. So keeping those two things in mind, let's get started with my coral and peach products. Today I have my lip tints, and I don't think I have any lipsticks here today. No, I think they're all tints. And for now the plan is to do glosses and lip pencils in a separate video. So let's get started. Alright, so let's start with the lightest color so that it's easy to wipe off. This one has no stain left behind, so we'll start here. So we have our first product here. This is called the Butter Tint from a brand called Dasique. And this brand became a little bit more popular in the last couple of years, but they have good eyeshadows and good lip products. The product is called Dasique Cream de Butter Tint, and I have color 02 Salted Butter. I would not consider this the best type if you like a true tint, meaning that it's supposed to leave behind the stain. This is a very, very light mousse type, so it'll apply quite sheer. And after you wipe it off, you actually don't see a big stain. I didn't want to make the video too bright because it is an ASMR video, and I prefer the videos to be a little bit dark so I can relax. But I would best describe this as a brick, rosy kind of coral color. Keep in mind in the video, the colors look a little bit bluer than they do in real life. Most of these products you'll be able to find online for more accurate swatches, so hopefully this is just kind of an introduction to the item, rather than a final swatch that you refer to if you decide to try it yourself. But it is definitely a warm color. It's light. The consistency is a very, very light, comfortable, and if I just go like this, even though it's been sitting in my hand for a little bit, it will smudge. So it's definitely not a long-lasting formula, and it's not smudge proof. It's a good base color, so I personally like to wear a lighter color on the outer edge of my lips, and then I like to do a point color on the inner ring of my lips. A lot of Koreans like to wear their lips like that, which is the opposite of how Westerners like to wear their makeup, which is usually a darker lip pencil around the lip with a lighter color inside the lips. So this is what I consider a base color, and it complements well with most corals. So I like this one a lot. It's really comfortable on the lips, and I am a little bit sensitive to scent, and I would say this one has a very light floral scent, but it's definitely not enough to bother anybody. Our second product is also from Dasique, and this one is a glossy finish, as you can tell from the finish of the container. A lot of these products finishes to match the container that they come in, so the matte butter stain came in a matte case. The glossy tint comes in a glossy container. This is in a line called Dasique Juicy Dewy Tint, and it's in the color 14 Peach Crush. Peach Crush, 14 Peach Crush. This is one of my favorite lip products. And I would call this color a sheer coral color. So keep in mind that the colors run a lot bluer on camera than they do in real life because of the lighting. But it's a very true coral color. It's warm. I would say the undertone is slightly red, but it's a wearable color because it's so sheer. And it does have some staying power, so even if you eat, I would say some of the stain definitely stays. It's not the boldest lip color, as you can see, but because I wear such light colors, I actually would consider this a point color, meaning that it's a color that I will put in the center of my lips as an accent color compared to a base color like the butter tint I just showed you. So if you were to smear it, you can see that the majority of the color stayed, although it's harder to tell on camera, and the gloss actually transferred over as well. If I use a wet wipe, you can't really tell on camera, but there's still a little subtle stain left over. I would say that the product color is very true to the color that you see in the container. And I like this product because it's not too sticky. And like the other product, it does not have a strong scent either. The third product, let's do a different brand, is from a brand called Peripera. Peripera ink, the Airy Velvet. And the color I have is 23 in the beach light, or let's say peach light. It's hard to see because of the expiration stamp on it. It's either in the peach light or in the beach light. I'm gonna guess it's peach light because it's the Peaches series. The Korean name for the color is 별빛이 내린다. Alright, so let's check out the color. Okay, so without the gloss, it's actually a lot easier to see the color. It's a very rosy peach color. It almost looks like it's closer to pink on camera, but really it's a pinky peach, not a peachy pink. So the undertone is quite pinkish, but I would call that a peach color. So it's nice and matte. This product also sits very comfortably on your lips. I would say because it's more of a blurring texture, it's not 100% transfer proof, but it does leave a nice soft subtle stain after you've eaten. And this, although if you had to categorize, it's a warm color, this does lean closer to neutral. So if you are cool toned but not super cool toned, you can definitely pull this one off as well. And now that it has had time to sit, if I were to smear it with my finger, that's what you'd see. So I've sheared it out, but you definitely see the color intact. And if I use a wet wipe, yeah, I'd say that's almost all gone. Almost minimal staying power with water, actually. So if you're looking for a more of a tint that leaves a big stain, this one's not for you. But the color's very, very pretty. Okay, the fourth product I have is another newer brand. It's called Heartpercent. The really popular product from them is actually their lip liners. The color I have here is called 1 Peach Coral. 01 Peach Coral. And the line is Dote Unmood Pure Glow Tint. And this I probably bought in the past year. It's pretty new. That's a satisfying sound. So usually if you see the tip stained much darker like that compared to the product color, it means it's got a pretty good staining power, and that the stain might be a little bit redder or pinkier than the color you see when you first apply it. So when you swatch it, it's a very light coral. I think peach coral is the perfect name for it. I would say it leans a little bit closer to coral than peach. It definitely has an orangier undertone. This one is a really nice base color if you're spring warm light, because it goes well with any peach or coral color. So for example, I'll use a color like this, and this is Peach Crush that I just showed, and I'll go in and do this in the inner part of the lip. But this one does blend nicely with almost any color, and you can tell it's not sticky. It's glossy but not sticky. I think Korean makeups are really good at doing that finish. If I go in with a wet wipe, and this is not a makeup wipe, it's just a wet wipe, you definitely get that little bit of a stain, much more so than the other products I just showed you. My next product is from a brand called Rom&nd. The founder of the brand is actually a YouTuber, and I think she mentioned that they're coming up on 10 years now, and they have really awesome lip products. And I do also like their cushion foundations, but I think their most famous is their lip products. This line is called Dewyful Water Tint, and the color I have almost all Koreans that are spring light warm knows this color. It's number 9 Cotton Melba. This is kind of what everybody calls the spring light signature color. If you are ever trying to try Korean makeup and you know that your color scheme lies within that spring light scheme, then definitely give this a shot. I think I'm a little bit low, which is incredibly rare for me because I have so many lip products. But if I run out, I'm definitely getting more of this. I'd say this is in my top 3. But it's a light coral color. You're going to laugh because a lot of these colors look exactly the same, but they're not. There are subtle differences. This one is a lot brighter than the ones I've showed you. So it's a little bit brighter is the best word for it. Not high contrast, it's just brighter. It's a less serious color, and it almost reminds me of like I want to call it melon, but melons are green. But it's a very cheerful, tropical kind of peach color. I would say it's closer to a coral than a peach. But I think the thing that makes it stand out is how bright it is. So if you're not wearing makeup, or if you're wearing minimal makeup, you know, sometimes darker lips can stand out, and not in a good way, because it looks like you're only wearing makeup on your lips, and it just kind of highlights how the rest of the face doesn't really match. But this one you can wear with no makeup at all, and it won't stand out too much. It just makes it look like you have a really nice natural lip color, and it makes your whole face look very bright. Koreans call colors like this a fluorescent light color, 형광등 color, meaning that it acts as a little light bulb that lights your face up from within. It makes makes your whole skin tone look healthy and bright. So I definitely love this guy a lot. And it's good for layering as the base color, but it's excellent on its own too. It's buildable, so if you do a couple of swatches, it'll look a little bit more peachy. It has a dewy finish. Again, it's got a glossy container. It's gonna have a dewy finish. And if I were to smear it, you see that there's definitely color left behind. And there's a little bit of gloss left as well. And if I use a wet wipe, which is becoming dry now, you still have the stain left behind. And the last thing is that it won't stain red or pink. Sometimes light colors will leave behind pink stains, but this leaves a very true color behind. I have one more product from Rom&nd, and this is in the Juicy Lasting Tint line. This is also an incredibly famous color from them. This is number 29, Papaya Jam, and this one is less glossy compared to Cotton Melba, and the color is a little bit darker. It's a little bit more toned down, so it's not as light and bright as the other one. So that's where Cotton Melba was, and this is Papaya Jam. So you can see that it's got a little bit more of a bricky, rosy color to it. It's not as light and peachy and tropical. Slightly rosy. So if you were to darken Cotton Melba several shades and then put a few drops of rose and then even fewer drops of brick into it, you would get Papaya Jam. This is for if I want to look a little bit more chic rather than like cutesy and light and bright, but it's still a lot lighter than you see on the screen right now. It's still a very light color. One of the characteristics of spring light warm is that we don't look very good in very dark, intense, heavy colors. So this is usually as heavy as we can go. But if you were to see it in person, you really wouldn't think this was dark at all. It just kind of looks like it on camera. So it has the dewy finish, and it leaves a stain behind even when you smudge it. And then if you were to use a wet wipe, you can still see a stain. And the stain is almost the same as the stain from Cotton Melba. This one does have a stronger scent compared to the other products I mentioned to you. It's like a fruity flavor, but it goes away once the product settles in. So I would say maybe 5 minutes and you don't notice it anymore. I'm pretty sensitive to scents, but I'm never avoiding the products because of the smell. So I strongly recommend this one too, especially if you like to wear a little bit more chic grown-up makeup. Next we have a product from Colorgram. Colorgram is a little bit more of an affordable brand. They target younger buyers, usually students, and you can tell by their container as well. It's very cute, it's colorful, so it's definitely eye-grabbing if you like cutesy stuff. 컬러그램 탕후루 탱글 틴트. So it's called, I guess you can call it 탕후루 tint, which is the Chinese dessert. It's a sugar-coated fruit that's very, very shiny. So it's basically just implying that this has extremely high shine. And I have color 01, flashing apricot. 살랑살구, flashing apricot. I don't find myself reaching for this one a lot. I don't know why. I don't have any conscious bias against it. I just don't noticed myself reaching for it a ton. So right away I noticed that it does have a little bit more of a beige undertone compared to the rest of the other ones. Okay, so this one on screen almost, it does look quite similar to what it looks like in real life, except less blue in real life. But I would say this one leaves a lot more salmon compared to the rest of the colors. I think maybe that's why. This one I don't notice that it brightens my complexion at all, and I do consider that an important feature because I rarely wear a full face of makeup. So if I'm throwing on a tint, I'd like it to kind of make my complexion look good too. I mean, it's not bad. There's nothing offensive about it. Just a little bit more beige than I would like. But it definitely is true to its name. It's got a high shine finish. And now that it's had a few seconds to sit there, if I were to smudge it, yeah, it leaves behind a nice stain. A salmony stain for sure. And if I were to wipe it with a wet wipe, yeah, it definitely leaves behind a stain. So that was Colorgram. I think there are certain brands that really work well with you and some that don't, and I think Colorgram just isn't my brand because I've also tried a finishing powder from them and I wasn't really a fan of that either. Sorry, Colorgram, but the container is really cute. We have 3 products left. We have another dasique product, so you can tell dasique is a brand that I jive well with. This is my dasique water blur tint, and this is in color 01 Peach Dew. Peach Dew. And you'll notice that most of the colors are like 01 or 02 because I tend to gravitate toward the lightest colors, and usually the 1, 2 are the lighter colors, and they tend to get dark toward the end of the collection. This one, as the container suggests, does dry, matte, and it's definitely the most orange out of all the products that we've looked at today. It's not as orange as you see on camera. It's definitely a lot more subtle than that. I would say it's orange plus beige with a little bit of coral. It's not super orange like you see on camera, so don't let that intimidate you. I like this product a lot as a base product. I usually will go in with a matte blurry finish base product and then do a dewier glossier finish in the center, or throw on a gloss after that. But for the base I like to do a matte finish because I feel that that's easier to blend and it's easier to cover my the outline of my lips. But you can see that it's already starting to dry down into matte finish. This one, as are all blurry matte ones, this one doesn't have crazy staining power. I don't think it leaves any stain at all, actually. If I were to smudge it, oh no, I'm wrong. There's definitely a little bit of a stain there. And then if I use a wet wipe, oh, look at that, it left a little bit of a stain. Not too much, but it's definitely there. Yeah, so I really like that as a base color. It's also really easy to work with any point color too. So we have one last dasique product. This is called Melting Candy Balm, and this was incredibly popular in Korea when it first came out. I'm not on TikTok, so I wouldn't say I'm on top of the latest trends, but I know Hourglass has been really popular. I think the hype is slowing down a little bit, but dasique has it. I think Tonimori has it. A lot of brands have it. But you basically get the stick-like shape, product, and the important thing is to only click once so that you don't get too much product. And I'm running out of space, so I'll swatch it right here. And the color is really pretty, but the reason why I don't often use this product is because you get this. Do you see that ring of excess product? So that's inevitable, and you have to I'm a neat freak, so I have to clean it every time like this. And it's a hassle. It feels like it's a waste of product. And I find that it's a little bit harder to apply evenly. I mean, it's a beautiful color. It's, I think at some point the trend was to find the bunny tongue color. This is a pretty good match if you're looking for that. It's got that really cute, warm, peachy pink color to it. But let's say you had this on your lip, and then your lip burst against your finger or glass. Like, it leaves that patchiness behind it. It's incredibly movable, and once it's on your finger, then you can get the product all over yourself like that. It doesn't fix down at all, and I really don't like it. And it also has a little bit like a tacky, oily feel to it. Tacky might be pushing it, but it's a little oily, and I'm not a big fan of the texture. So although the color is really nice, I mean, I guess it's also hydrating a little bit, but I just don't think it's worth the mess it makes. And I don't like that it just moves around so much. So color is nice, but I wouldn't recommend the product itself. Alright, last but not least, we have an OG brand, 3CE. This brand has been around forever. They've been around since I was in high school, which is a very, very long time ago. And 3CE is under the clothing brand Style Nanda, and they are also one of the first brands that kind of went viral in Korea. But this color has been, I think this is my third time purchasing it, which again is really rare because I have drawers and drawers of lip products, so it's hard for me to finish. To be honest, I never repurchased it because I finished it. I repurchased it because it expired, but I think it still says something that I keep purchasing the same color. This is in the line Syrup Layering Tint, and the color is in Youth Coral. And I actually have two of these. I keep one in my drawer and I keep one in my pouch. So if I ever need a quick tint and a fix because I just want to have a little bit of color on my lips, I usually reach for this. So that means this color is going to look really natural on a bare face. So glossy container, glossy finish, and this definitely has good staying power. So let's take this last bit of space here, and it's the prettiest, slightly rosy pinkish coral color, and it leans neutral to warm. I don't think this is gonna be the easiest color to wear if you're a very cool tone person. I think neutral and warm is really gonna enjoy this more. But you see how smooth and even that application was, and it hides any, the little, not fingerprints, but the little skin texture on the hand. It hides all of that. It just makes it look so smooth and glossy, and it wears so comfortably. It's always very important that a product sits comfortably. I want to put it on and forget that I have anything on, and this one's like that. There's no tackiness, there's no stickiness, it's not gonna budge. So I like this one a lot. Pinky coral color. This is what I would also consider a fluorescent light color. It makes the face look very bright. smudge it. See, it barely moved. I have nothing on my finger. And yeah, nothing. And if I use a wet wipe, nothing. Yeah. So a good one to just throw in your bag to make sure you have something and then forget about it because you're done. So I saved that one for last because I knew that it would leave a huge stain behind on my hand. Like compare this color to the rest of the stains. So if you care about longevity and easiness, this is the one to go for. So that finishes up my coral peach collection. I do have a ton more, but they are Western brands. So, and I wanted to make this video all about Korean products. So I'll have them in a separate video. But I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you found it helpful. Maybe you saw a couple that you liked enough to give them a try. I usually purchase my Korean beauty products on either Amazon or sometimes I'll use Olive Young. Sometimes I'll use Yes Style. Yes Style seems to have the best prices and their shipping's relatively fast. So thank you again for watching. I hope you have a good rest of the day or night. I'll see you soon.